Rebels of the world. Okay, so as soon as I've appeared on screen, we've dropped 2 viewers. What am I meant to think of that? Anywho, we'll crack on. Oh, we've gone up by 1. Maybe we just lost signal or something. So I am here to do our final, but certainly not the least important Master Rebel interview of our series of 6, and I'm really glad to be rounding up on this one, because the lady that is going to be joining us has been with us on this Rebel mission from very early stages, and has been not only a perfect Rebel Yell Club member and Rebels and Rule Breakers part of the family, and a fantastic Master Rebel, but has actually been incredibly supportive of me as well on an individual basis. So as seen me in my most vulnerable moments, crying and skriking about things, and also has had impeccable timing when she sent me bits and bobs of kind of feedback and just really supportive stuff out of the blue that's just really bolstered me at a time when I needed it. So without further ado, I am going to bring said lady onto our screen and introduce you, if you don't already know her, to CHERYL SPEIGHT.
Hey, you're right.
Absolutely. How are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely bricking it.
It's all gonna be fine.
Yeah, good fun.
So I'm loving the fact that you're looking so colourful today, CHERYL, because that is, you are a person of brightness and cheerfulness and colourfulness in general. I think that's very apt.
I do try.
It just seems natural to me.
Yeah.
That you're like that. So we've already got some good comments welcoming you onto the live stream. We've got our Tracy, we've got Facebook user, who knows who that is. We've got some whoops, we've got some comments on how lovely you look as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
So as I say, this is our final hi Paul, our final interview. Now, before we go any further, guys, will you tell me in the comments if the background noise is too much? I've opened my French window next to me and I can hear like traffic noise, but it's really stuffy in here.
Oh, hey, Anya.
Hi, Anya. I haven't thought to bring like a fan into the room with me because it was too late. So it's now a bit warm in here because we're having a sudden little heat wave.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you, Nadia. That's cool. That shows my microphone's doing its job properly then. So enough of the technical. CHERYL, welcome to the world of Rebel showbiz.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is very exciting. Not that you're unfamiliar with it, because we often do Rebel Squad TV sessions, don't we? Live TV sessions.
It's a little bit strange for just me, though.
It's just you. And you deserve to have your own little piece of limelight. So Facebook user is sat in the garden loving my ladies. I wonder if that's Lisa.
I was going to say, is that Lisa?
No, normally Lisa's name comes up.
Have I gone dark now?
Oh, has somebody turned the lights off on you? Are you going to get locked in?
No, I'm not going to get locked in because I'll be locking the building up. But I might I might need to do like the American wave to set the APR. There we go.
Hey, it was quite ambient there, though. The way you were sort of, in a
energy saving
light. It is the Avinator that is Facebook user. I don't know why your name isn't coming up this time, mate. That's a bit weird. We'd normally think it was Jamie, wouldn't we, Nadia? But there's an absence of the blue heart, which made me wonder who it was. Good. Lisa's going to put red heart when it's her. Right. Well, that's a good code, isn't it? So, CHERYL, tell the world a little bit about who you are. Give us a little synopsis about you. Tell us some stuff.
Tell you some stuff. Okay, so
tell us some stuff that will tell people who you are if they've never met you and they don't know about you.
So I'm based in Leeds currently, but I grew up in Country Pumpkin in the edge of the lakes, in between, like heading towards the Yorkshire Dales. So in a very small hamlet, and not a lot really goes on. And then I gathered some strength and went off to university at 18. I went into the big wide world, and that was a shock and a half. But it's what I wanted. I knew that I was in this little bubble of, there's no range of culture or differences. I mean, I didn't even know you can get pizza delivered to your door till I went to university, for God's sake.
Really?
So, yeah. So
I'm not sure whether you could when I went to university.
yeah, it was from there. So, and then from there, moved around the UK with different jobs, based into Leeds, with the now husband. We've been married, should know this, 12 years now. And I've got 2 boisterous boys, 5 and just turned 8. So they keep me very busy. Work full time. I am in the corporate world, and generally sort of like retail into facilities, bit of distribution, again in the retail side of things. So people and process is generally my sort of background from a work point of view. And yeah, just life's crazy with 2 boys full-time work and general
Trying
life
to
admin.
keep going. We were saying, weren't we, in our Master Rebel group earlier, WhatsApp group, how adulting is so bloody hard. It's so easy to drop the ball. It's so easy to sort of lose, track of where you are. And
it is, but it's just so much more fun to be like carefree and just have that freedom to do what you want when you want, like have a laugh. Like, just sometimes life just gets too serious as an adult, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
Just like, chill out.
Jamie's comment.
What does he say?
He's saying, yep, 5 minutes in, you can't show up. Well done, see Bob. That's a great nickname, actually. See, he knew you would do well with this, didn't he? He had faith in you, totally. We all had faith in you. So it is tough, kind of, just spinning all those plates, isn't it? It seems like you might be slightly outnumbered as well in the sort of male to female ratio in your household.
Definitely, yeah. So like, this is pretty much the amount of pink that I get away with. Very stereotypical boys, although they do have their really quite sensitive and feminine side, which is really cute. But they
really
are
nice.
So they keep us busy.
We'll talk a bit more about the boys later, actually, because I'm always really interested when I speak to rebellious parents, how they teach their small humans to be themselves and so on, and what their kind of parenting style is. Lisa's saying, unless Neve grabs you, pink personified. Yeah, that's Neve, isn't it? Sparkle and fairy wings and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, total opposite. It's when you get our 2 kids together and Freddie comes down in his fairy outfit and princess with his princess outfit, his fairy wings and all the glitter. Absolutely loves it.
That's so cute. Now, speaking of Neve and Lisa, who is Neve's mother, this is how we met, isn't it? I think, if I remember rightly, we met through Lisa, didn't we? Because you 2 are very firm pals and have been for a long time.
Yeah. I've known Lisa a long time. And so it was, God, I can't remember now. Whenever the Facebook group started up, it was a month or so afterwards when she started saying, come across this Rebel Yell and this Emma, and like, you just need to join the Facebook group. It's like hilarious, funny. It's just about being yourself. I think you'll love it. Like, join the Facebook group. So joined the Facebook group, having a blast in there. And then I attended, you launched the Rebel Yell group. And that was like in its infancy, a few months in. And Rippers did the first workshop, not a workshop though, what do you call it now? Masterclass. And about saying no. And I was just like, so I actually paid to go on to there, and I was just like, yes, this is exactly what I need. Well, it's about personal development, but from either whether it's personal or from a work perspective, but it's fun. It's not a boring classroom. So I joined up part of the membership, and then yeah, we're involved in the Facebook group and the membership and stuff. And then, yeah, just before Christmas, was it? Became
Yeah.
Master Rebel. So yeah, so kind of done the
Yeah.
whole journey of it, really, from
That's a good
infant to
synopsis.
adult. Yeah.
And it's made me look back actually, because so it was November 21. No, November 20. November
November
20.
20. Yeah.
We started the Facebook group,
Yeah.
and it would have then been November 21 that you joined. I think because we did the new team on the anniversary.
Oh yes, that's when I joined the Master Rebel. Yeah, we did
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
Were you?
So I joined.
Was that? Yeah, that was.
So joined the Facebook group just before the Christmas or around the Christmassy time as you launched it, and then joined the Rebel Yell in the February-ish time, I think. So yeah, good.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that has been, that always stands out to me about you, just one of the things is the fact that you've always been so committed and dedicated to your own sort of personal growth journey.
Yeah.
And for all the best reasons, because I think that has an impact on all the people that you deal with around you.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? What's your, why is that self-development so important to you? And what sort of stuff have you done before that's maybe given you that,
I
commitment
think,
to it?
yeah, I've always been kind of a bit of a people person, quite social, but it kind of started off more as a sort of career thing. So, working up through the ranks, like say in retail, managing teams, you just need to know how other people tick, not just you. And it was a big shock as soon as you start managing a large team. I moved, Northern Bird, moving down south, and the feedback was, oh, you're definitely a Northern Bird, aren't you? You say it as it is, you're a bit blunt sometimes. And I'm like, what are you on about? I'm just saying it as it is. And I don't mean it. And so it was a real culture shock, if you will. And it's just that understanding what makes other people tick, and just because, I see it as a career for me, but then somebody else is coming in and it's just money to put the food on the table for the kids. It's an hourly rate, it's something to get them through college. So, they're not, the commitment isn't necessarily always the same. So, but it's just understanding what makes people tick. So I think I realised early on that if I wanted to be successful, that I needed to think outside my little world. During my degree, we did some of the modules I really enjoyed around, the motivational and people engagement side of things, relationship management, all that kind of jazz. And then going through some of the in-house training with the companies that I was working for enjoyed, but sometimes it was just a little bit too classroom. So that's kind of where that's kind of where it ticks that box. And I think just as I've got older, I've realised that it helps you more in your personal life as well. And just development, moving around, different people, different aspects. I'm interested. I'm a nosy bugger. I like to know what's going on, who thinks what, and why. So I always ask loads of different questions, really. So
it's a natural curiosity, though, isn't it, that you've got?
Yeah.
It's more than it's not like nosy gossipiness. It's like a genuine interest in other people.
Yeah, genuinely anxious, and I want to be able to, because I want to be able to help them, want to be a better person. You make the decisions that you do, and I think that's important. I think especially after the last couple of years, I think everybody's realised that it's more important now, and to understand the bigger picture and not just your own little circle, really.
Jamie's asking if you're an undercover copper. I'm not sure why.
Undercover copper. I'm an absolute ginger. Yes.
Oh, I see. I was thinking more.
And it's not very undercover anymore, really. I dye it so it heightens it. Loud and proud. My ginger husband and my ginger children, when we go on holiday, they sun cream shares go up massively.
Oh, it's a lovely thing to be ginger, I reckon.
Fiery.
Yeah, too right.
Fiery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to come back to this mood cycle thing in a minute. But this sort of concept that you talked about before, and saying how it is, and linking to that fire that gingers have. that I find that really interesting. You know, this kind of cultural divide we sometimes have in the UK, and you know, this kind of, we think there's a north-south divide and all of that, but also, you know, how we can get a little bit of feedback from one or two places, and it's something we can kind of, it sticks with us, and we, you know, it may hamper us and how we behave. So when people have said to you, "Oh, you're right, you're definitely a northern bird, aren't you?" You say it how it is. Has that ever changed how you behave? Have you ever modified your behaviour as a result of that?
So hey Mark, I have, and it landed me in trouble because it was just fake and I couldn't keep hold of it, so I bottled it in, and then I would just go bleh, and like I'd have a massive outburst and insult people even more than I would have done normally. So I'll be just like, what the hell? And then so if I am one of those, if I hold it in, like it's just going to come out twice as worse. So so it's not backfired. So I've learned to embrace it, and I love being I'm proud to be a northern bird, and I just I kind of just am as I am, really. I just sometimes you do need to read the room, and there is that emotional intelligence side of things, and you know, I'm not going to say it to intentionally hurt anybody, so you might have to like take it down a notch sometimes, but
that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That you can be, so there's being yourself, but there's also how much emotional intelligence you've got with that, isn't there?
Yeah.
So you can be yourself and have no self-awareness and be really brash and go crashing about. You can be yourself and you can be Mexican wave. You can
wave at somebody, wave at the sensor. Thanks.
You can be yourself, but also be aware of other people as well as yourself, and you know, modifying your approach accordingly. But dancing around things and not being honest doesn't help anybody, does it? It's just how you do that honesty, I think, that's
definitely
the difference, isn't it? And I've never seen you be clumsy or brash or, you know, hurtful or crashing at all. In fact, the complete opposite. I've just recalled actually a conversation you and I had. I think we were on the phone one day and we were talking about when we do our community coaching calls and things, and I seem to remember you saying something about, oh, you know, just want to check in and make sure, you know, give me your honest opinion. Do I come across okay? Am I ever do I ever talk too much? Am I ever too loud? And I found that really interesting, because you absolutely not that, and you know, your contributions are always fantastic, and by no means are you too much, you know.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, like, say you get the feedback, and some of the feedback just sticks, doesn't it? So you're conscious of it. And I think that's always it's a good thing as well. You know, you take the feedback, you take it in the right way, and you can adapt to different situations, and that's just about being human and understanding where you are, and like I say, that emotional intelligence again, and understanding in some respects what you can get away with and when and where. Anyways, there's another way I look at it, and I think, you know, so, and it's how you present that bluntness or the feedback or your opinion, you know, whether it's in a professional manner or whether it's with Lisa and just telling her to do one. It's absolutely fine either way. And I think one of the masterclasses that we did with with Amy, and the body, I'm gonna have to remind me of all the
human design.
The human design. And that for me, I mean, I got really emotional on that, because I was just like, so many light bulbs, because I'm a 1% special, and you know, take in all the emotions and absorb what's going on around me, and I just go, yeah, do you know what, like, that rings a bell. Like if the mood's not right, then like I'll get moody, or if it's everybody else is on high, then I'll get excited. So yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
as it is.
Special, apparently.
Special, yeah, I'm special. Special 1%. You couldn't cope with more than just me.
it's Lisa herself actually is often spoken about how, you know, years ago she got feedback about being too loud or whatever, which we, you know, we don't agree with at all, do we? And you know, that and again, Paul the other day said, you know, that he hates that thing where people say, can I just give you a piece of feedback, give you a bit of feedback, and actually what they're doing is forcing their opinion of you or a thing onto you. And sometimes it's bullshit, isn't it?
It is.
Or just their opinion.
And for me, it's their opinion, and for me, I just like to ask questions, and so quite often it's like, you know, I get accused of being, you know, like say that brash or that loud, and all it is I'm just asking questions because I want to understand the bigger picture, and I want to know why, and I want to know their thought process behind it, so that either I can get on board, I can sell it, I can engage other people with that thought process, I can engage myself with it, you know, because if I just, you know, if you just get that top line, I don't just accept it as it is. I want to know the background and a bit more info.
Yeah. Well, that brings me back to this comment that Lisa made before, actually, that your favourite question is why, that then the moon cycle kicks in with your response. So we probably need to explain to people what that means.
So with my 1%er, with my body makeup was around my human design. That was it. My human design. It was around the lunar cycle, and the like I shouldn't be making too brasher decisions and like being too decisive. Outside of work, absolutely, I'm just like so indecisive. I'm really not too worried, but in work I need to be decisive. So it was quite a shock, really. But actually, since having that and that understanding a bit more of me, you know, some of the bigger decisions I have parked a little bit and just thought, no, I'm gonna wait a little week and see what happens. And actually, everything happens for the reason, and it's helping me not like have that anxiety and worry for that month, like 28 days, whatever it is in between hands. Yeah, so it is strange.
And so you've really found that's made a difference to you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm like, oh, this is, you know, so like, you know, the personal circumstance or work, or like, I'm like, there's a big decision that's weighing on me, and I'm going, do you know what? I'm just gonna try and park it for, you know, a few days and see what happens. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So
you absolutely go with the flow in your personal life of making decisions, especially when it comes to socializing. Yeah. Instant decision socializing. I'm like, do you want to go out? Yeah, where are we going? I don't know where we're going. We're just going out. It's fine.
You are a social butterfly, aren't you? You are quite extroverted, actually.
Yeah, I am. And like,
tons of energy.
Here's one of those where you just go like, oh, got nothing on. Let's plan something.
Yeah, too right. Yeah. And you know, this is one of the other things that stands out for me, that you have this ability to be on this like treadmill all the time. It seems to me anyway that you always going, you know, you've always got stuff going on. And I know you've had your moments like everyone does where you're like, do you know what, I need a freaking holiday, and actually I'm doing too much. But I mean, are you the kind of person that thrives on that level of energy, or is it just the situation you've got into and you kind of don't have a choice?
Bit of both. I definitely thrive under sort of like pressure, and like she's just that like buzz of go and like we're gonna like fix it and it's all gonna be okay and like last minute. But actually I function better when like I've given myself time and space. So I often go on, like we've talked before about that, like say the just the conveyor belt of like you go and the expectation is, you know, like in a work environment that actually if you're not working 20-30 hours over your contract hours, then like you're not doing enough. And I think in the corporate world, and so definitely on that kind of like sort of social expectation, and like, and I think where I've realised actually I can't function like that. I get knackered, my anxiety goes through the window, and I can't function like that. However, I do like life crazy and back to back. You know, going from one thing to the next.
How do you get that balance then? Like, how do you?
I think it is. I think
those things.
I've got a very understanding husband, so when I go, nah, I'm out. You know,
Yeah.
I like
dear.
this, like, that's it. No, I'm out. I'm just going straight to bed today because I'm like, I need time out. Or and I do make time for myself, but sometimes it is that kind of going and doing something for me. So it's
Yeah.
like on the go or like plans to do, but it is for me. But I do find like the socializing and with people, and whether it's, you know, just going out for something to eat or like starting in the garden, having a barbecue, like that for me, yeah, it's busy and everybody's like, oh my God, you're constantly like having people round or going somewhere else. But that is relaxation for me. That is, you know, getting together, sat around with a glass of wine, having a barbecue, and the kids running around and all happy is like my absolute idea of heaven. So
Well,
that, you know, I don't mind having a weekend full of that.
and that if that works and you get a handle on it, it's good, isn't it? It's just making
Yeah.
sure that you notice those times where it's kind of gone over the line. And one of the things that you've always, you know, found time for, well, you know, often found time for, because it, you know, it's not a constant thing. Life sometimes gets more crazy than others, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is the fact that, you know, you're working on yourself and doing some of the self-development and, you know, some of the Rebel mastery modules and all of that we have in Rebel Yell Club.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, that despite all that busyness, you've always found that time. Now, one of the things that I encounter so often is people saying, oh, I haven't got time for personal development, or you know, I haven't, you know, I will do it, and then they don't do it. Or they sign up to something and then they promise they're gonna, you know, catch up, and then they don't, and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So what tips would you have for people who perhaps feel like they haven't got time to do some of that inner work
Yeah.
and that self-development stuff
Um,
while balancing life?
yeah, it's like for me, like there's, I mean, if Mark's still on here, we had like a big in-depth conversation one day around actually, you know, giving yourself that half an hour investment and thinking and reflecting on your own, on yourself, your own behaviour, your own outlook, actually reaps rewards and benefits for hours and hours later on. So it's just kind of like understanding the bigger picture. So, but I do it by bite-sized chunks. You know, in the Rebel Girl Club, like your videos and your modules are then split down. You know, it's a 10-15 minutes. I'm a regional base now, so actually I quite often listen to them a bit like a podcast. Catching up on like the other guys' lives and some of their mastery modules. If I can't attend it live, then it'll be a case of, oh, do you know what, I'll just listen to the recording in the car, like podcast. So I think, and sometimes behaviour for me is around, like, if you want to change it and you want to do something, you've kind of got to like diarise it and make it happen. And then for a period of time before it comes like a behaviour and a natural thing. I also think that it needs to be something you want to do. If you don't want to do it, like, you're not going to do it, are you?
That's it.
It needs to be enjoyable and it needs to be fun. And like, you know, if you're doing the personal development that is online and it's all just watching those videos, or you're like having to like read
it's like hour-long modules or like a huge book, or
having like textbooks of this and the other. Don't get me wrong, some people, that's how they learn and that's what floats their boat, and that's fine, but it doesn't for me. Short and snappy, keeping it fun, like, and the fact it's a bit of dual purpose, that it's me as a person, but then also helps me in a career and a work environment. Yeah, and that's like, so they get the dual side of it, really.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, you know, in the sense that people have to want to do it, don't they?
Yeah.
You know,
and I do find
it
the
doesn't
Rebel
have to be a big deal, you know, but just commit to it and make it a habit.
Yeah, and I think like the Rebel Yell part, I do find it quite social. Like, we all get on, and it's great. Like, the random group of people that we are, just these makes it what's so funny and like interesting, because we are a load of randomers, really, just chucked
We
together.
are. Like,
Beautiful
if you look
randomers.
at like the Master Level team and the members of Rebel Yell Club, there's no way we'd normally end up in the same place together, is there? I mean,
No.
apart from a geographical thing, but you know, we're just all from different walks of life completely, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think it's about forgiving yourself as well. Like, you go through fits and starts. So, like, you know, first joined Rebel Yell, it's like that newness, and like I did all of the Drama Buster modules and stuff, which was amazing. But the most recent ones, I've not done as many or as much, and that is partly a time thing, the changing job and like a refocus. But I think where, you know, like, but you know, Nadia's gonna kick our ass and get me and Lisa back into catching up. So I think and it is that bit of, you know, teamwork, but forgive yourself that life got busy and restart it. Like, it's fine. Doesn't matter, does it? There's no time limit on it all. Like, you just got to crack on.
Nadia, would you like a promotion to chief arse kicker?
Yes, just definitely.
Chief accountability officer.
Yes, I think she should
CAO.
be.
They're really good at that, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you know, Nadia's also a great example of someone who's super committed, and we talked about that in their interview very much so. So you touched on one of the big change times that you had in your life, which was going from, you know, very small hometown to uni and that kind of culture shock. But I'm assuming this will be in there. What are some of the biggest? Hey,
Woo!
what are some of the? Apparently Nadia scares Lisa a little. I doubt that very much. What have been the biggest sort of change moments for you in your life then that have made you who you are now, do you think?
Obviously moving out of the middle of nowhere. I think having children and being responsible for somebody else and how they interact in society and think and grow up. Well, definitely that's huge. And I think the other big one is I had a interesting work situation a couple of years ago, which really made me. I think good. You were sort of there to help me through the back end of it and coming out of it when I left my job with nothing to go to, because I was just I was like, do you know what? No. And it was a rebel that gave me the confidence to do that I was worth more. And that was hard because actually I worked with a load of really nice people and enjoyed, but actually just the situation for me was toxic. But you know, but that was changing massively because you just allowed me to evaluate my self-worth. I saw the worst of myself. Yeah, it was huge.
I do remember you being so brave when you made that decision. I remember saying to you, listen, you know, whatever happens, it'll come right. And you then walked into something really quite easily, didn't you, on making that decision?
Yeah.
So Lisa's asking, how do you deal with a huge amount of things that are going on? How do you stop yourself from burning out, and what helps you prioritize? Good question.
Lisa helps me prioritize when I ring her and go, oh my God, what am I doing? And she's like, oh, chill out.
I can just imagine her being like, right, come on.
Yeah, like, great. Yeah, like say, I think the husband's a massive part of it because like it's a teamwork approach in our household, and so like we have just conversations of like, right then, a bit of diary management, bit of like life admin, we call it, sort ourselves out. From there, and like the priorities are pretty simple. The family and the kids come first, and then everything else will fall into place realistically. And then and I think sometimes like that was a real change from going from being like, you know, workaholic, like, oh yes, okay, me and Rich were still together and we were married and that, but it was different when you've then got like a little human growing in you and then having to look after them. I think that was the realization that actually, you know, working that extra like hour and a half every evening just because I could, like it's you know, didn't want to. It makes my like time management and actually more productive at work by like having to leave at a certain time. So
because you can work for 12 hours a day, but actually after however, you know, 8 hours or 5 hours or whatever your personal thing is, you're diluting what you do anyway. You're not actually being that productive, are you?
No, it wasn't. But I also found like, so at the time pre-kids, you know, I worked in a large shopping centre and loved it and had a great team, great environment around me, and great colleagues, and so actually it wasn't hard to stay there. And so it was quite, obviously it's quite a public place, so I'd have friends that would come and you know, I'd have a 2-hour lunch while I caught up with friends. So, but it didn't matter because I could stay later, come in earlier, and you've got all that flexibility because you can do what you want because you've not got anybody else relying on you. So there's that kind of, you know, the switch really. But yeah, So that's how I prioritise, really. Kids come first and then everything else will fit in.
That's a good answer. I think, but a lot of people prioritise things the wrong way around, don't they? Even when they've got family, they for years kind of just put, work and career on the forefront, and then, always regress it in the end, I think, pretty much, don't they?
I think there is a balance, and there is times when I, stay at work longer, but I think the bigger picture is that actually that means that I can switch off for the weekend, so I have quality time then. So so it isn't quite as straightforward as in like the kids get the lot, but I think it's important that the kids see that work is part of life and you've got to do it hard and you've got to put all into it to get the most out of it. So
well, let's talk about the kids and the family stuff then. So tell us about your 5 and your 8-year-old little mad ones, and your lovely husband.
So my husband still refers to Rebel as a cult.
I forgot about that. That's so funny. You still think it is a cult?
No, he just does it as a joke now. So him and she, I had he is close with our chief lurker H, and so I think that has helped sort of sway the opinion of it. It's on kind of his peripheral. He, doesn't quite understand why I'm like crazy about it as much. But I think that's just different outlook as a scientist. So he's very like, this is my method and this is how it goes, and you've got A plus B and equals C, and and also our he's quite a quiet, open, natural, inquisitive person anyway. So he and I think like our upbringing was different. So he's a city boy, so he's got that exposure to different things already, if that makes sense. Whereas I didn't necessarily have that. So I think where you kind of everybody ticks along differently, I suppose, but he respects it, he supports it, and when we've got our master classes and lives and such like, he does bedtime.
That's so funny. Apologies, by the way, if you can hear sirens in the background.
They're coming for you.
I live next to the River Mersey, and opposite there is an ambulance station. And most of the time they don't put the sirens on, but for some reason tonight they've decided to do it 3 times in the same line.
All right. And then my kiddie winkles, so Alfie 8 and Freddie 5. Power to be reckoned with them too.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I didn't catch that bit.
Power to be reckoned with them too. They've got like absolutely so much personality and so much energy.
5 and 8. I mean, that's like that is some energy there, isn't it? But together to deal with the both of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So you were saying before that they've got their sort of, they always seem like, they've got good boyishness about them, but actually you've also said they've got like a less sensitive feminine side as well. So tell us about that.
So I just think that, well, I like going out for my, coffee and cake and me shopping and whatnot, and I think that it's about spending quality time together. So they understand that we do some stuff for them, but we do some stuff for us as well. So it's like that. It's like say we do it as a team approach for 4 of us. So I think that there is that. I think that it's like really encouraging them to listen and to sort of how they're feeling. Like Alfie's 8, so the like hormones are starting to show, and like Freddie when he was when they were both younger around, they've got the emotions, but they don't really know what it is. They don't know how to handle it. And it's just sort of hitting down and having those open conversations and around like it's okay to just cry for no reason, because you just feel like that, then that's fine. And it is, and it's just around frustration and helping them navigate that minefield. If I don't know all the answers, and I think, and sometimes it's just that transparency of like, I have no idea. Yeah, I'm sad today, but I
Yeah,
don't really
that's
know
really
why.
important,
I'm
isn't
sad,
it?
I'm sad today and don't really know why. So you don't know why? And I'm just like, no. So I just need a cuddle and that'll help me feel better. Like,
Oh,
and they'll come and they'll give you a cuddle and then that'll be it then. So it is, and it's just it does help me with them, like being the openness to talk and like
yeah.
kind of insight to like having, like I say, being part of a rebel just keeps, I know this sounds really old, but it keeps me like in the loop of what's going on outside my world. Like,
Yes,
so because
it must be quite, sort of a bit of a tunnel sometimes when you're trying to spin all those plates and family
yeah,
life.
it is. And it's like, and like it's good to know what the boys are gonna get exposed to. Like I always look at it and go, oh, so you look when so as like we were growing up being gay was, the new thing. Well, not the new thing. Like I should say that it's not a trend, but like the new kind of like talked about, or like it was.
Yeah.
So like actually, so when my parents were growing up, it was like around race was the like awareness needed to increase of. So
The
actually,
taboo that
yeah,
was being
yeah,
combated.
and
Yeah.
it's like then it's that's like normal and like not even thought about what in most places for that, and then it becomes around sort of like sex, and then it's every generation's got something different to challenge through, and I just think that, and then it becomes like a bit more accepted, and in hopefully the bias and the kind of goes away at each different level. Does that make sense? That's a bit
It really
garbled.
does. I
Like
know.
each generation has a new challenge, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it's like, so then what becomes normal then for one generation, or like accepted is probably a better word, not normal. But yeah, then it becomes something different for somebody else. So I think that's
Yeah.
where, and so I just want to keeping an open mind and understanding of what they're going to be coming back and asking questions on, because God, do they ask questions? Certainly do.
I love what you've just said about. I'll come to Lisa's question in a minute as well, because it's a really good question. I love what you've just said about that each generation having their their kind of big thing to evolve through, I suppose.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to be Freddie and Alfie's generation's thing that they need to
That's a good question.
rebel through?
See, I think the whole kind of transgender, binary, non-binary scenario, I think that will become them more accepted. I think like
gender norms,
or appreciated, whereas that's kind of the one that's getting most exposure, if you will, and talked about at the minute. Whereas I think that'll become there more accepted and kind of like, why was this a big thing, Mum? Like what? And then but with theirs, who knows? Who knows?
Nadia agrees. Gender, big thing. Gender, sexuality, all that, and gender norms are a big fascination of mine. How we've created the concept, the structure. I guess of being male or female. It's that all. And that in itself, and then the fact that actually we don't have to conform to either of those if we don't want to. It's fascinating.
And I think the thing that they'll probably go through is around there's kind of starting to come up more and more an openness around like mental health or working like patterns and sort of stereotypes and routines. There's lots around the 4-day week. There's lots around like whether you work from home or in the offices. There's lots around like women in like the gender bias in a workplace. So I think that's probably going to be the boys' scenario of it. And I think around like the education scenario where it's I know doing the wave. It's not work that though. Doing the
Enjoying the wave anyway.
Yeah, doing the education and doing the trade. So you look at the workplaces. Actually, there's a massive trade shortage. So is it going to switch back from being the uni being the thing to going back to doing trade? So I don't know. It's exciting times.
Yeah.
Whatever. Bring it on.
There's some great comments here. People supporting what you're saying. Absolutely here. I love that thing, Lisa, about Neve asking, "Why am I a girl? Because boys are cool too." That's like quite a. Can I be a boy sometimes? It's like a really inclusive thing for a small person to say, isn't it? That's wonderful. Nadia's saying that they still find They put them, so the people are putting them in boxes, and also joining the waves. That's brilliant.
It's really funny. So that I overheard a
Dig the
conversation.
wave.
I overheard a conversation between my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old and his 2 8-year-old friends. There was like 4 of them there. And on the kind of coming out of lockdown, we're going out for a walk with them and their mum, and it was around a lake, and it's got like the witch on the broomstick. If you have children, you will know it. And so Freddie wanted to dress up as a witch, so off he went and dressed up as a witch in this purple dress thing, and off he went around this on this walk and stuff. Not called girl all the way around, not bothered. And this was probably about 2 years ago, and the conversation came back to that, and they were having conversations around girls and boys and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, you can be the girl, Freddie, because you like wearing dresses, don't you? Because I remember when we went the witch, and you look cool with that dress, and didn't you?" And it was a really, really, really good conversation
What
to
a
randomly
healthy conversation. How
Yeah.
wonderful to be able to suddenly witness that, though.
Yeah, and it was just like, so they didn't know we were like listening in and stuff like that, and it was just, yeah, it was so funny but so nice at the same time.
Oh, I love
Really cute.
that.
Yeah.
So Lisa's saying you've got 2 very different boys, and obviously Lisa knows Freddie and Alfie really well. How do you do that whole different thing with them?
Just let them guide it, really. It's absolutely called winging it.
I
yeah,
love the two versions of that. Let them guide you. That's so wisdomful. And then suddenly, no, actually, we just wing it.
Just wing it. Wing it. So like we just let them guide it, really. Their interests, their questions, their temperaments. You just kind of take it as it comes. Like they're discovering themselves at the minute. They're at that age where it's like, oh, I like this, no, I like that. Like I'm going to get emotional about what colour cup I'm drinking out of today. Like tomorrow needs to be a different colour. It's also true. Like how can you deal with that? You can't predict it. You've just got to wing it and roll with it.
We can't predict our own moods most of the time, I guess, can we? I do really like the idea though of letting them guide how you parent, because we can learn so much from children, can't we?
Oh, totally. And they teach us stuff all the time, and they ask the questions, and they get dead philosophical when they're having a 20-minute poo. It's just, honestly, it's their thinking time. I swear down.
Is that just a male thing, do you think, or is that does anyone experience that out there? People, let us know if you
are. But yeah, so it is, and you just they get the questions and you let them guide it. There's big conversations around genitalia in the minute at the household.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I'm intrigued. What sort of discussions are you having?
So Freddie's asking about my special hole.
Okay.
Because that's what my husband called it.
Oops, that one's gonna
yeah, and he's just like, because I'm hiding my willy, and I'm like, no, I'm not hiding my willy because I don't have one. All that kind of fun. And yeah, but I find it funny because if you don't have a willy, what do you have? And I'm like, vagina, and you have a penis.
Brilliant.
And it's like, because you can't say it, so it's like gyna. So now I sound like I've got an STI. And he, so it's just funny because personally, I just want to hear him say it in a public place to somebody because it'll be hilarious.
So we're using the proper terminology.
Yes, proper terminology.
None of faffy nicknames. It's just right.
No, it's not my flower or my
yeah,
whatever. Yeah. So anyway, it's all about that.
That's so funny. We're getting lots of comments about what people do when they're pooing now.
Bet you never thought that was going to come in up with conversation.
no longer needs private time, Lisa, because you just told the world. We're talking about parenting and pooing.
Yeah. Sidetrack slightly, my speciality.
So funny. It's those moments, I guess, where in terms of dealing with children, when they ask a certain question, and what I love about the fact that they do that is that not only are they curious, which I think is a wonderment thing, it's a really wonderful wonderment thing to encounter, because there's an innocence and a sort of real, natural curiosity about it, but also that it makes you stop and think, well, how do I explain this one? But also sometimes, not only how do I explain this one, but do I even have an answer for this one? It's really blows the mind, doesn't it, sometimes?
It does. And I think quite often the kitchens, I don't know, go and ask your dad.
Do you lose credits for that, though? Because does he do it back to you?
No, because he's got far too many brains.
He gives them the full scientific explanation,
he does.
Diagram, methodology, etc.
Yeah. So when they ask about rainbows, I just switch off.
Yeah, because probably all they want to hear is, well, it's about nature does a thing and whatever, and actually then they're going to get the full blown.
No, it is. It is, and I just do think it is about being honest. Like, you'd look about the COVID stuff and whatever. Like, we were quite honest with the boys, obviously to their level, and not too scary, but they needed to understand. And whereas I've got everybody's, their setup's different, but there's some kids that didn't really know about it, and I feel you could kind of tell that as they went out, because then so it comes a bit more of a shock, or so I just think it's about preparing them, really. So I think, again, if you're honest, but not to the point of where it just blows their mind or scares them or whatever, but I think that it's important that they know the truth, really. Because
I agree.
You're just going to have to backtrack and build that solid relationship for the future, that hopefully they'll come and talk to you when something serious happens. So
and I really feel very strongly about that. Watching Esty, still only, she's a little toddler, really. She's just entering toddlerhood, and I often think about, when she's older, and the kind of conversations that I'll have with my niece. I can't remember if I said already, but I often think I would love to be the person or one of the people that she comes to talk about the really difficult stuff with. And also, you want, like you say, you want to prepare them, but you also can't live it for them. You can't make their mistakes for them, and you have to allow that to happen too, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And I've got some great aunties, like Auntie B and Auntie Fia on their Facebook. But I think where, being able to be, have another adult to go to talk to is important, and I think you'll be a great auntie to do that, and I think she'll get some really good, and you will know everything when her mum will know nothing. And to be the adult that they ring when they're in trouble, because they don't want to get the grounding just yet.
She's a lucky lass, actually, because she's got me, and she's got on the other side, she's got another auntie and an uncle, and she's going to have great family support, actually. I mean, I'm wondering about the Halloween party talk that you had with Charlie, but I'm guessing that may not be something we can talk about.
I think I told Charlie about the birds and the bees, let's put it that way, after
amazing.
A bottle of wine or two. So it was probably a little bit too much information.
That was so funny. So I'm guessing, your kids are probably going to be a couple of things that you are very proud of in your life.
Yes.
In terms of other proud moments and things you've rebelled against, perhaps, what other things would stand out for you?
Ooh. Proud moment of working away without a job to go to. That was pretty ballsy. I think
it was during pandemic and all of that stuff.
I think kind of it's a hard question, really. I think friendships, I think, is a good one, of realizing that, I've got friends that I don't speak to for months on end, and then it's like we saw each other yesterday, and that's amazing. And it's just understanding that that's okay. And I've got friends that we've drifted apart because of different setups and circumstances, like with geographically or because of kids and stuff. But I have no negative thoughts or feelings around that, and I know that with those guys, our paths will reconnect again soon.
Yeah.
But then there's others that I've completely just gone.
Yeah.
And
Which is
that's
what Lisa
hard.
is alluding to here with her question, I imagine.
Letting people go, yeah. And that was
Yeah.
hard. And it was like a grieving process.
Yeah,
Really,
it is
really
like
hard
that,
grieving
isn't it?
process. And it was a case of like I felt like I failed. And do you know what? It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
So what did you learn from all of that then?
People change.
Yeah.
Situations change. Jealousy and like personal paranoia is and control of other people is toxic.
Yeah.
Really, really toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I just that sometimes you would go like head first into like sort of not savior mode, but like kind of like, oh, I can help and support
Yeah,
and
like
do.
rescuer.
Yeah, and actually, like you've got to think of yourself in those situations. Like, it's all right every now and again, but when it becomes like habit and routine, and are you starting to be used like a doormat? Like your plan B, you're the backup, you're the solid always going to be there. It's fine when I want you, and that's not a friendship. So yeah,
Yeah. It's
hard.
got to be, we're not friends with people to get something,
Mm.
are we? But if
No.
you are in any kind of relationship with somebody and it's all given and it's not balanced,
Yeah, and I
then
think it's tough. Yes, so it's really tough. Yeah, and I think the other thing I'm proud of is that I unfortunately don't talk to my brother, which I'm not proud of. But what I am proud of is generally that like my other family connections are still there and strong. Like we all talk about with other friends or like my husband and little pieces, and like you would never just rock up at his auntie's house or his cousins and stuff, and like actually I can go months and months, but actually you feel as though you're not necessarily a really close family, but you are really. I know I could turn up on their doorstep and be welcomed in. So yeah, I think that's a really nice place to be.
Yeah, it is. Family can be so challenging, but also so
Yeah.
rewarding, can't it? I feel like this might be a good topic for us to talk about when we do our next Rebel Squad live. Actually,
Yeah, definitely feel really lucky with the family I've got and the family I've chosen.
Yeah, and the family you've created,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
sustained. That's a big deal, isn't it?
It is, and when you get the feedback from parents' evenings and stuff around the boys, and like Lisa had the little Fred a couple of days over like school holiday or whatever, and they went out and just like they were met up with one of Neve's friends and parents, and they were like, but you wouldn't know who's there, and all that the nice feedback that comes back, you go, yeah, okay, we're not doing too bad.
So what's the next sort of focus for you in life when it comes to kind of self growth? Self growth, is that a thing? Sounds a bit weird and sinister, that, doesn't it? Self growth. Self development, all that stuff. What's your kind of next rebellious focus, I guess, or current focus?
I think it's just continuing the rebuilding my confidence. The toxic work situation a few years ago really knocked my confidence. It's definitely on the increase, but there's definite triggers that and I think there's been a recent trigger, and I think I've mainly handled it quite well, and I think that's quite a nice thing. So I think it is just that continuing with that self-confidence, really.
These things
And building
like
that up.
hang around, don't they? The stuff you experience in work, particularly.
Yeah.
You can leave a job, but there's a process to go through, isn't there? To let go, to heal, to build back up. Often.
Yeah, definitely. But no, it's good. I think it's just that, and finding the stability of trying not to be too mental, but yeah.
Too mental.
Too mental, not too mental, not like tickling over the edge. But yeah, but
Oh,
just continue being enjoying life really, and just being happy and focusing on that. Then like worrying about all the
sweating the small stuff.
all the peripheral crap around the outside. Like,
Yeah,
just matters it.
that's it's good advice of people. Any other sort of tips and advice that you might have for people? At least it's saying you're hugely mental. I'm assuming that's a compliment. Any tips and advice for people who are perhaps balancing work, family, or have gone through work challenges that have stuck with them, or just general rebellion advice?
General rebellion is about giving it a go. Like, does it matter really? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Giving it a go and having that reflection and openness with other people. So like, it's okay to open up and go like, I'm scared of this, or I've no idea what's going to happen. And talking about stuff. I think that's just the way that most people can like learn and develop. Really, it doesn't have to be a big PDP action plan documented on a page somewhere. It's just about keeping it live and keeping it little and often and going for it. Really,
I love
being
that.
you.
I can feel another soundbite coming on here. I'm going to have to watch that back and write down a little transcript from that section. Quote you. And we're feeling the love because Lisa's obviously incredibly proud to have you in her sort of non-related family, a chosen family.
A chosen family, yeah.
So that concept of just give it a go. I think that's you do your version of rebellion really perfectly and really authentically, and you are really good at being vulnerable and opening up when we do our Rebel Yell things as well. We do our little we've got a Master Rebel mastermind next week, haven't we, where we can get together and help each other, and you're always so good at being who you are and not pretending to be someone else or pretending that you've got it all going on and that you don't do this kind of fake smile through it all. You really do just get to grips with what needs to be worked on, and I really admire that about you. I've never seen anything fake about you at all. Like,
no.
So authentic.
It's happy, sad, angry, frustrated, like all of it comes out just as it is.
As well, like you're so generous hearted. I said it up at the beginning that you've been so supportive of me and the group and the team and everything, and I like that. I'll never forget. There was a couple of messages you sent me a while back when I just really needed to hear them, and you voice noted them, and the love in them and the sort of genuine sentiment in them really, really made me emotional, because I could just feel it. I could hear the energy almost that you sent those with, and I think that's the effect you have on people.
Oh, thank you.
So if they think you need to change, just
yeah, it's just like, look, it's just rebellion for me is about being confident to be me and not to bow down to anybody else or to change because like for a reason that I don't want to change.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. We can all improve and all of that, but changing who we are, we're not into that, are we? Not at all. Nah. So you hang around on LinkedIn work-wise, don't you? Do you like a new connection if people want to do that?
Absolutely, more the merrier.
Anywhere else they can find you apart from teaching people how to do a Mexican wave in dark?
No, Facebook and LinkedIn is pretty much the social element that I get. I daren't go on to Instagram. I think I have got an account, but I have no idea what the login is. But I don't dare go on there because that's more time that I'll get addicted to my phone that I don't want to do.
I don't blame you. Well, it's been a bloody lovely interview.
It's been ace.
I've really, really enjoyed it, and I think we should do what Nadia is suggesting we do, which is to end on a Mexican wave. So we're going to do it after 3. You're going to start. I'm going to go next. Then I'm going to go again because there's only 2 of us. And then you're going to go again. And then we're just going to have faith that everybody else in the entire world is doing the same thing. So let's do that after 3. 1, 2, 3. That's so
Amazing.
funny. I love it.
That's brilliant.
Thank
That's
you
great.
so much, Cheryl.
No
And
worries.
thank you to everybody who's tuned in, as always. Thank you for all your brilliant comments and your love and your support. And don't forget to come join us in Rebels and Rule Breakers if you're not already there.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. Let's keep Rebel Chief Rebel and Master Rebel Cheryl out. And we'll see you soon. Give us a wave.